All right, I'm going to show you how to stow the pop-up now. We're going to start by removing the door and putting it back in place up here. So we'll start by sliding the slide bolts up out of position, one on each side. We can gently remove the Velcro from the door. May need to lift the roof slightly to get it out from the slide latches, and then we'll lift it out of its pocket at the bottom, and these guides here should allow it to slide across the roof there. All right, we'll drop the front in its little holder, and then these cables will allow you to completely let go of the door if you need to reposition your hands or whatever. And then we'll just operate one, you can do one button latch at a time. And then right up here, it's just a little button tab locks the door into position. There it is. All right, next we'll remove the shepherd's pole to let this fabric come down. So there is a button up here that will have to be depressed to get this pole out of position. Fabric will come down. You just pull the pole straight back, it'll disconnect it from the front. And then we normally lay it on the bench here, but it's going to be a little long for that, so we'll need to operate this button to collapse the pole enough to leave it on the couch there. All right, the next thing we're going to do, because this bed has to slide all the way across this area, nothing can be above the level of the couch here. So this little cabinet will need to come down. These cushions will need to come off. And then anything that you have outside that needs to be stowed, you can just put on the floor in there. All right, now we're going to come up front and disconnect the bed system. There are 4 bungee cords on each side of the bed that will need to be undone. And then the 2 support bars need to come off the tongue and get put back in their spring clamps. I usually use my back just to kind of lift up on the bed enough to get that pole out of its holder. Just do that on both sides. And then we'll gently push the bed in and get this fabric off of this pole here. Kind of fold this up like a Christmas present. If any of this fabric is balled up when we go to lower the roof, it'll prevent the roof from coming down all the way. It'll be crooked, and you'll damage the clamps trying to clamp it down. So front of this thing has to be super clean. Again, the tongue here usually very greasy, so try not to brush up against that. Once the bed is all the way in, fold this fabric in. Right, come around to the back. And we're going to lower the roof most of the way, and then we'll make a couple laps around this thing and just tuck all the fabric in nice and clean. Get this stool out of the way. Be careful with the plastic on these windows, especially if it's cold outside. This plastic can become very brittle. You poke a hole right through it if you're not gentle with it. Once the motor stops, just let the switch go, and then we'll have to clamp all 4 clamps. The front will be a little bit higher in the back because of all that fabric. So if we come up front, we'll do that one first. Just with a gentle pressure up here on the corner, you can push the roof down, get that clamp on there, and latched into position. Before we latch the back ones, that's going to pull this top down another ½ inch or so. You're going to want to unbutton and close this door, or you'll have a hard time closing it. You can already see it's kind of rubbing on the back there. So close this door before you latch those other 2. We'll lock it using this deadbolt. Depending on how you've got it level with the jacks, you may need to shimmy the door a little bit to get that deadbolt to latch, and then you can lock it by pushing it in. We'll finish up with these 2. All right, the last thing is to kill the battery switch so that you're not slowly killing the battery while it's packed up. For the docking station, you can operate this chuck here, remove the faucet, get that packed away in here. Don't forget your little kickstand